Hey guys, so today I'm going to talk about making extraterrestrial contact in the dream realm, in the dream state. So as humans, we've kind of been taught that like waking reality is real and dreaming is not real. It's just something that's going on in your head. But as you go through the spiritual awakening experience, you kind of come to understand, well, you do come to understand that everything exists within your consciousness. You are infinite reality and you are having a specific experience according to the vibration you are emitting. So at the minute I'm resonating on the vibration of Jonathan in the waking state, but as we change our vibration we can actually shift to other dimensions of reality, to the astral realm, to having contact with ETs in meditation, and like going into deep states, and of course in the dream state at night. This is one of the ways that the ETs like to communicate with us. So the dream realm is not less real than waking reality. Like everything in reality is just an experience. It's all happening within your consciousness. It's all happening within our consciousness. And so the waking state is no less real than the dream state. So yes, we can have dreams that are kind of abstract and more like a normal dream, that are less connected to perhaps something more visceral and more what we might call real from a human experience. For example, we might have a dream that's just kind of abstract and there's ETs in it, but it's just kind of a regular dream. However, the dream dimension is a dimension that the extraterrestrials can actually operate in. They're multidimensional, interdimensional entities, and while they can actually manifest their ships in our dimension, they actually exist in higher dimensions of consciousness, higher dimensions of reality. They're actually in some ways closer to the dream state. So it's actually, as I understand it, easier for an extraterrestrial to communicate with us in the dream realm, because the dream dimension is actually a higher frequency dimension closer to source consciousness. And it's more akin to the dimensions of reality that they operate in. So they can actually kind of manifest themselves in the dream state and communicate with us in the dream realm. So if you're interested in making extraterrestrial contact, it's likely you've already been having extraterrestrial contact dreams, but you might not recognize them as that. So I'm going to share with you some of the common dreams that we have that are actually ET contact dreams that you might not recognize as ET contact dreams, because what we actually remember on waking in the morning isn't actually normally exactly what happened during the dream. It's normally kind of symbols we create within our consciousness, within our physical mind, to relate and understand experiences we've had in higher dimensions of reality that we can't really comprehend with our physical mind because they're so different from the waking state of consciousness. So we create symbols that we remember the dreams by, but they're not actually exactly what occurred in the dream as I understand it. So one way you may remember extraterrestrial contact dreams is something that I have, and that's quite common amongst contactees and experiences, is you remember like they're often very social, they're hyper social. So when we go on the extraterrestrial trips, but when we go on the extraterrestrial ships in the dream state, which is kind of like closer to the astral realm, or perhaps what even we might call the template level of reality, where we're actually beginning to work with higher dimensions of reality and the extraterrestrials to create experiences we're going to have in the future in the physical reality. So when we're actually having these contact dreams, we're actually going on the ET ships in kind of like an astral dimension, a higher dimensional reality. And so we're meeting up on these ships, and normally there's many hundreds of us meeting up. Like the ETs seem to like to work with hundreds of us at once. I guess it's easier for them, you know, there's millions of people having contact, so it's easier if they work with like classes, because it's kind of a classroom experience, and this is one way you might remember it, of hundreds and perhaps even thousands of people. So some of the dreams, they're like hyper social. There's normally interaction with many beings. They can be kind of sexual in orientation, because in these astral dimensions we don't have any filters. It's like our filters and like our human insecurities are gone. So if we have like a sexual impulse towards someone we meet on the ships, it's likely we're just going to have a sexual interaction with them there and then, just like no questions asked, you know, obviously if it resonates between both members or multiple members even, who knows. Wherever floats your boat, guys. No judgment here. And so also, you know, I've had experiences with like people I've been very close to where they've actually punched me on the ship, because like I say, the filters are removed. You just say and do what you feel, and we've been having a bit of a challenging time in physical reality in our relationship, and so they actually punched me on the ship, like, and because it's like there's no holds bars, so just a heads up, guys. So these situations are normally hyper social, and they're normally in a setting such as this. Often you'll remember being in a nightclub. Sometimes it's kind of a nightclub environment, because you know in nightclubs you often got like the dance floor area, and then you've got like 2 floors, but there's often a balcony round the top. It's a long time since I went in a nightclub, I vaguely remember it's like this. There's like the lower tier, and then you'll often have a balcony area overlooking it. So a lot of the ET ships are like this from my experience. There's often like 2 floors or more, and there's often a balcony area, kind of like these new open plan houses you get as well. There's often 2 floors and like a balcony area, like looking over like kind of open plan area. So sometimes we can remember them as kind of a nightclub experience. Often, more commonly for me, it's like a cafe, a kind of cafe experience where there's lots of tables set out. And I remember I actually met I guess I can mention the name, she talks about this publicly, that's the only way I know her really, Bridget Nielsen. Some of you maybe know her. I remember meeting her in one of these cafe situations on the ship, and another friend from Peru who also talks about this, Hanovi Strongdeer. Let's drop some names, why not, because I kind of know them both. And they talk openly about this, so I'm sure they won't mind. This is what they talk about this. So I met them both at one table. Actually, we did a course together years ago, and with Bridget and her dad, me and Hanovi did the course. And Hanovi lived near me in Peru. We met up many times in Peru. Hey Hanovi, if you watch this. And but I remember this dream. This was years before I met Hanovi physically in Peru. We were, me, Hanovi and Bridget Nielsen were all sat round this coffee table area and having a chat, having a discussion. And this is very common in these experiences. Like I remember, like you're in kind of this kind of open plan area, there's many beings, and you're normally sat, there's many tables, and there's lots of different discussions going on. I guess it's kind of like a university experience, very much like a university experience, you know, when you're in the cafeteria and you often got your homework assignments, and there's many of you sat around different tables all discussing your different topics, and there's a lot of buzz and a lot of conversation, a lot of learning and a lot of teaching going on. And so often also it's like a classroom experience. You might remember being taught by beings that, if you think really hard and strong, you remember they look a bit weird. They didn't look quite human. They had strange eyes, strange heads. There's something different about these beings teaching the class. Often you don't remember at first because it's like a process, and over time you begin to remember more and more that these beings teaching the classes. And I remember one sat before like a whiteboard or a big TV monitor, and like there's a couple of us, me and my friend, that punched me. That was when she punched me actually. And we were sat in front of like an ET, and he had like a stick and he was pointing at this screen and teaching us some stuff. Very often it's a classroom setting, because of course we're learning on the ships. The ETs are always teaching us on the ship, so this is why we remember it as a classroom setting. Sometimes it's like super high-rise buildings. I remember sometimes like it feels like I'm going up in like a skyscraper, like a circular skyscraper. You like that one in Las Vegas? It's like a round building with like a UFO on the top or something like this. I'm not sure. Maybe that's just my dreams. And like I remember going up in very, very high skyscrapers to like the 300th floor, and having a class with some strange entities, some strange beings, and lots of emotional humans that are like sharing their emotions very freely on this experience. And of course this is representative and it's symbolic of going up into a spacecraft. And so these are the kind of dreams you should look out for. Also, I have had a lot of dreams over the years of like, I don't know, what we might call secret space program craft, like secret military craft, and like beings. Like I had one the other day where I actually met a friend from university, like real university, in this ET ship dream. And we were kind of like in this hotel complex. It was kind of like a hotel where there's many different areas, many different rooms, many different like small buildings. And I went into one of these small buildings, and I was like, hey guys, what are you all doing? Why are there loads of people in my room? What are you all doing in my room? There's like 10-20 people in there. Like, you're all in my room, guys, you shouldn't be here. And they're like, no, you're in my room, this is my room now, we got the key now. And I remember this guy from university was sat at the back, and he had his hair bleach dyed blonde in the dream, and a bit later in the dream he was flying this like military aircraft, like this giant triangle ship in the sky. So a lot of these, and I'll have a lot of dreams with like these beings from the military. Often military guys are involved. Like this one dream I had, there was like Breathe, Neo. My energy goes very high when I'm talking about this. So in this one dream, I recall there was like this big, stocky military guy. He was like a 6'6", blonde head, big, stocky military guy in military uniform. And there was also a woman with him who also had blonde hair and was also tall, and she was wearing a military uniform. And behind them, there was kind of lots of little beings all walking in unison, which I now remember. I think they were like greys or hybrid greys, and they were all, they might have looked human in the dream, but I'm fairly certain they were actually greys. It's like my mind's interpretation. It feels like they were greys now. I can't remember exactly how. They feel like more like greys now, I recall it, but at the time I recalled they were more human. It's very strange, guys. And so they were all walking in unison, the two military guys at the front, and like the 10 dozen, about the dozen, 12 dozen is, do you use that word? We use dozen in the UK for 12. I use these words and people from the US are like, what are you talking about, Jonathan? These traditional English words. So there's about 12 of these little beings and they're all walking in unison and really fast. So this is the thing, the greys are like a hive mind consciousness, and also like the hybrid greys and a lot of extraterrestrials, they're telepathic unity, they all operate as one consciousness and one entity, and they're a telepathic hive mind like bees or like ants, and they're all walking unison. Like I remember hearing like a contactee, an abductee experience of talking about how the greys, like they'd all move around the ship, they'd go and they'd all stop at the same time, and he sat up bolt upright in bed one time and they all turned around and looked at him at the same time. They're all in unison, they're a hive mind, they're a telepathic consciousness, so they all move together. So this is what was occurring. I'm checking there's no one coming. I still get a bit self-conscious talking about this stuff in public. So yeah, so there's like 12 little greys, a big 6'6" tall military guy, a very tall blonde, fairly attractive, I think, military woman in military uniform. I mean, don't women look great in military uniforms? Can I say that? And so there's like these dozen greys behind them, they're all walking in unison really fast. So they all move together. Stop. So they were on this other side of this river. So I have a lot of dreams. I have a lot of dreams where I'm in these kind of areas, like in the Lincolnshire Fenlands, out near the forest where I had the contact experiences, and it's more over there. Actually, maybe I should spend more time over there because all the dreams are over there. Yeah, it's about like 8 miles from here. Yeah, guys, I'm going to head out there on my bike and do a video out there. There's got to be some reason. I mean, I have had the contact experiences in there, but it's more slightly different. Yeah, I'm going to head out there, guys. Work this out. And so the other side of this ditch, this dike, this like small river, this stream, this Fenland dike, ditch, I don't know what you call them, but like a small stream, like river type thing, almost like a canal for drainage and feeding the fields. And this kind of like higher dimensional, super advanced military vehicle, I remember it as a military vehicle as opposed to excuse me, I'm losing my voice a bit, as opposed to like an extraterrestrial craft, like lands on the other side of this river, and like these two this military man and woman get out with a dozen greys behind them, and they walk towards the bridge, like 20 yards in front of the river, and they go stop, cross the bridge. Imagine them all walking really fast, like on 2 times speed, crossing the bridge, walk down, and then we all go into this strange building with strange corridors, with very tight corridors, and you're walking around like this, and corridor left, corridor right, like this. And then I go into this strange office environment with this military guy, and he's selling me watering cans with flowers on. I think it's something connected to this phase in my life, because I've actually got a watering can with flowers on at the minute. And so yeah, there's very often military personnel involved in these dreams. I often have dreams where there's drones outside my window, my bedroom window. There's these strange objects like flying outside the window and like turning around, observing me, and then shooting off in the dream. And yeah, and all sorts of dreams about triangular craft flying in the sky. There's very often military personnel involved. So why that is, perhaps you guys have got some ideas. Perhaps they're really military guys involved in the secret space program. because there's definitely a secret space program to some degree, and with more advanced craft, I do believe Bob Lazar is telling the truth. That's my humble opinion. If I'm proved wrong, so be it, but I do believe we've got reverse engineered craft for sure. I mean, the military, they've definitely captured ET craft in the past, and they've definitely attempted to reverse engineer them, so there's definitely something to the secret space program. There was, I think it was like the head of Lockheed Martin said that one of these big, or Boeing Aerospace, something like that, says we now have the technology to take ET home. So who knows what's going on, guys? Maybe it's real military personnel working in the secret space program that I'm having dreams with. Maybe I'm seeing like ETs and I'm just remembering them as military personnel because they've got uniforms on. These are the kind of dreams you will have, guys. And they've got a strong energy to them. They've got a real powerful energy. You'll wake up in the morning and you'll be like, whoa, that was powerful, that was intense. Sorry about my voice, guys. My voice is really going. So they have a strong energy to them. They're different to normal dreams. You'll wake up and you'll be like, whoa, that was intense, that was powerful. So maybe I end the video there, guys. We're coming to an end, so you get the idea. Just give you a heads up on how you probably already are having some sort of contact dreams, and how to keep your eyes out for them. Peace, love, light, and Shivai.